What's going on, people? It's the Xbot 448, and today, before I get into the news, I do want to give a major shout out to the graphic god. You know, as you guys can clearly see, I have a new logo, a new design. It's called Xbot Certified. It's just absolutely fantastic. This guy does such a great job when it comes to logos. He also does, like, you know, channel banners. He does stuff that you can put on your Facebook, your Twitter, all that good stuff. Yo, guys, if you need graphics, anything that you need to get done, definitely get a hold of this guy. Like I said, he's the graphic god. I know him by Jay. He's a good friend of mine. He does such a good job on these things, and he loves doing these as much as he loves playing games. So, but I'm gonna put a link to his Twitter in the description below. If you need anything done, definitely get a hold of this guy. You know, start a line of communication, get to talking. Yo, he will go above and beyond, you know, what you talk about, like, you need for your channel. Also, I want to do a really quick recap on the podcast that I was in this previous week. You know, for people who have been following me, you know I do a podcast with Mooch every Friday on his channel called Crossfire. We actually had JKB as the special guest, Jay Hooft, and it was an absolutely amazing podcast. But the day before that, I was actually on Four Guys with Quarters with my boys, you know, Assassin, Clowns, Inferno, even Zebra Fries, which first time talking to her. Absolutely incredible crew. I love going on there and talking games. We talked basically about, like, the future of Halo, where Halo is going, what they did right with Halo 5. We got in and started talking about, you know, Telltale Games, Batman. We were talking the Overwatch DLC that's coming out, and how come there are no, like, maps or modes in that whole DLC thing. It was a really good time. I have a lot of fun talking games with these guys. So I'm going to put links to the podcasts in the description below. And of course, next podcast, which was just this past Saturday, it was Mooch's Takeover. Major shout out to Mooch, and a major shout out to Crap Gamer, somebody who joined in the podcast that I didn't even know he was coming. You guys and the rest of the next podcast panel made that episode a huge success, and I really appreciate it. So like I said, you know, links in the description below. But as for now, I want to get into the news about Sony and their policies when it comes to crossplay, and then something with Ark, which is really interesting. Now, first of all, you know, another shout out to Crap Gamer. He brought the news out that Sony, you know, without saying no, has basically denied crossplay between consoles. So basically, you can kind of read between the lines. Sony doesn't want any type of game doing crossplay between the PS4 and the X1. The developers of Tekken have come out and said that they would love to do crossplay. I think the first ones to really talk about this was the developers of the game. I call it Soccer Cars. It's Rocket League, but I know it as Soccer Cars. Most people know it as Soccer Cars now as well. But the developers of Soccer Cars came out and said that they're ready. They want to do it. Microsoft has even said that, you know, they got everything situated. They're all good. They can do, you know, cross-platform play, you know, across consoles. And basically the holdup has been Sony. Well, now with the developers of Tekken coming out and saying the same thing, Sony is, in fact, they're pretty much saying no without saying no. They're kind of dipping and dodging the subject and stuff like that. And it just goes to show, like, they don't really want that to happen. I don't know if they don't think it's a great, like, business move or whatnot. But not only that, for people who are in the know, you know that Sony doesn't have, like, a game preview program. So the game that a lot of people have been enjoying on the PC and on the X1 is a game called Ark. For people who don't know, it's basically, Ark is kind of like a survival crafting game. You're put on this island with a bunch of different animals. A lot of them are dinosaurs, stuff you thought was extinct, and you're kind of You're on this island to survive and kind of figure out how you got there and why. And it's been in the game preview program on the X1 for a while now. See, the thing is, Sony has kind of denied them to put any version of that game on the PlayStation Network. They've come out and said that they're not going to do anything until, you know, the official release of the game. But here's the thing, Wildcard Games, the people that make Ark, have actually submitted what they called a full version of the game. Sony won't even take that. And the reason why they won't take that is within, like, you know, the full game, there's still going to be like updates and like kind of tweaks to how things are done. The game is not completely done yet, but it's really, really close. And Wildcard wanted to give people that are on the PlayStation a chance to play the game on their console. And Sony is just not having it. They have flat out refused it. They said not until the game is completely ready with no updates and stuff like that, which is a little asinine to me. You have the developer kind of bending over backwards, giving you what they call basically the full game, just like needing tweaks to, you know, in case like texture pop-ins and stuff like that, but it's the full version of the game. And they just will not let it happen. This is just another example, guys. Like, it's funny how Sony used that kind of slogan for the gamers, when you can see, if you look at it with non-fanboy eyes and you try to, you know, have common sense, Sony is not necessarily for the gamers. I mean, they will refuse stuff like this, kind of like at their own whim. Just like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. And to me, it just makes no sense. Now, if it was the other way around, I would have been talking about Microsoft and, hey, why don't you have this game, you know, out on the Xbox? You know, it's going to be the full game. They're just going to, you know, update the game to make sure it runs smoother and stuff like that. And it would be good for the developers to get their game on that platform. So this way they see how that platform kind of reacts in real life environment with the game. If there's any bugs or glitches that, you know, they didn't see when they were developing the game, they could see it in the real life form and put out the updates necessary to get that game running better. But it, like I said before, it seems that Sony doesn't want this done. They seem pretty adamant about no crossplay between consoles without saying no. They can't really say no because that's going to be a PR hit, all right? Even though you have those Sony fanboys out there, those ponies that will just kind of ingest anything, any kind of news that Sony puts out there and say that, you know, every one of their decisions is absolutely perfect. I can see why they're doing this. I can see why they're doing that. But, you know, in the end, if they just flat out say no, it's a hit to them PR-wise. It's a hit to them between their relationships with the developers as well. So they're not going to just flat out say no. That would be bad for them. But what they are going to do is they're going to kind of do the dodgeball thing. You know, they're going to dip, dive, duck, kind of back away from the question, answer the question without answering the question, do a bunch of PR stuff to kind of not, you know, necessarily put out that solidified no we're not or yes we are. Like I said, it's just another example of Sony just kind of really being that anti-gamer. As usual, guys, if you like the topics, you like the content, you like the gameplay, definitely hit that thumbs up button for me. If you just like kind of stumbled across this video, you're new to my channel, definitely hit that subscribe button. I tell people all the time, there's a bunch of content on this channel. You get gaming news, you get live streams. Every once in a while, I put out like these music videos set to gameplay, which I feel are really cool. And of course, the next podcast, which is every Saturday at 6 p.m. Guys, everybody who subscribed to me, yo, I really do appreciate it. The community is absolutely outstanding. And I can't wait to keep doing more videos and more podcasts for you guys. But as for now, this is the Xbot 448, and I am definitely signing off.